Hey folks, welcome to my first ever video on this YouTube channel. Let me briefly introduce myself since I think most of you don't know me. My name is Matthew, I'm 18 years old. I live in the Czech Republic and I trade for 1 year and 5 months using ICT concepts, but I'm not consistently profitable yet. But I believe this whole series of the videos on this YouTube channel will help both you and me get better and mainly disciplined and consistent. So without any further talking, let's get into it. Okay, so the only asset class we will cover today is index futures, since it's the only asset class I trade logically. And I'll start on the monthly time frame, where we can see a pretty nice SMT on the all-time highs, where YM took out the all-time highs and NQ and ES failed to do so. It will be more cleaner when I go to the weekly time frame. Yeah, there it is. It's not that obvious on the first look, but when I zoom out on the YM, we can see YM actually took out the all-time high and did a great SMT. So we need to keep that in mind, and as we can see, price really reacted good to this. So we need to keep it in mind and go on the lower time frames with this higher time frame premise. When I go to the daily time frame, there it's even more obvious, so you can see yourself. And price clearly displaced lower, and price is currently violating the discount PD arrays, which is pretty bad sign for bulls. Drawn liquidity is the sell side liquidity currently. On the NQ we got a relative equal lows, so this will be my drawn liquidity going into the charts in the upcoming days. There price clearly violated bullish BCs and simply displacing lower, which is not great once again for the buy side, And what will happen? From the weekly time frame, I think the most powerful SMTs are on the rejection blocks where we have SMT. So I think ES will actually tap only the rejection block or the consequent encroachment of this huge weekly wick, and NQ is more favorable to take out those lows. So this is something I'll go into the charts and hunt for the sell side liquidity. Okay, and when we look at the economic calendar, we can see we have a CPI on Wednesday and PPI on the Thursday. So the most probable scenario is that price will accumulate prior to Wednesday, and on the Wednesday we will have just firework and whipsaw. And I really think those CPI can easily take out those relative equal lows on the NQ. On the NQ we also have a pretty nice inversion fair value gap where price might react in order to go lower, since we have a weekly power of 3. So maybe Monday and Tuesday can accumulate, Wednesday can do a little bit of manipulation, and the rest of the week will be simply distribution to the sell side liquidity. Okay, so let me drop even on the lower time frames, and I think price will simply retrace to this huge H4 CB, tap the weekly inversion fair value gap, and then spool lower to the several time mentioned sell side liquidity. When I look on the seasonal tendency, which is 2 from 2 degrees, and I use it really often, let me pull it on the chart. Seasonal tendency is basically, I would say, pattern how price moved in the based on historical data. So when we look at the seasonal tendency, those are those lines. The yellow line is the last 5 years how price moved, the orange one is 10 years how price moved, the red one is 15 years how price moved, and the gray one is how price moved in the last 50 years. So it's a lot of data in my opinion, and we can usually base setups, because when we are aligned with the seasonal tendency, usually there is a low resistance liquidity run, and when we are against the seasonal tendency, usually it's high resistance liquidity conditions which are not favorable for us. The thing I didn't see when I analyzed the indices is the daily redelivered rebalance, which is a very powerful PD array, and I think price can easily bounce off it, retrace higher to that weekly inversion fair value gap, and then continue lower to the sell side liquidity. But let's get back to the seasonal tendency. Currently we are in the September, and as we can see, price is dropping lower into September. I think it's mainly prior to US elections because I think price just want to manipulate individuals before the real move, which will be on the election, which is usually a very bullish move. So this is something I'll go next week into the charts and be aware of. The seasonal tendencies, once again, the September should be bearish month. So we need to keep that in mind. Don't be stubborn and just ride the order flow. Last week I tried to pick bots of this huge drop lower, and you can think of how I ended up. So yeah, but actually I got just one loss and one break even, but it could be even worse when I would be more stubborn and take more than one trade a day, which is my rule. And my wall trading plan is on my Discord server, so make sure you check my description and join the server for the Uplifting community. I got so many resources in there which you can find helpful even if you are beginner or the intermediate trader. Okay, and right now we will analyze separately the charts. So let me start on the NQ. On the NQ, I'll definitely mark out this weekly inversion fair value gap, which will be place where the week high will happen, in my opinion. So right now price will bounce off this daily rebalance. Let me mark it out too, so you can see it. I also talk about this very powerful PDRA, which is not covered a lot on the YouTube or the Twitter. I taught it in the private mentorship and some private sections. And this PDRA is, I would say, one of most powerful PDRAs out there. So if you want to learn more about this PDRA, so I got a lot of examples in my Discord, which once again you can find in my description, and I extremely look forward to have you there because I'm very active there. I do live pre-market calls, I do daily, weekly recaps, trade recaps, I got summarized ICT lectures. Like, there's a lot of stuff which you'll definitely find insightful and worth. So let's get into the price section. I think price will bounce off of this daily rebalance to this weekly inversion fair value gap, and there we will have a high of the week, and the draw on liquidity for this week are those equal lows. Let me go on the lower time frames. When we anchor the premium and discount, I usually do this on the hourly time frame. I anchor my dealing range based on the liquidity. So the last buy side and sell side rate is my dealing range. So when I anchor the fib, we can clearly see there is a great H1 CB which is overlapping with this weekly inversion fair value gap, where I think we will have high of the week. So this H1 CB, in my opinion, will be very deciding if we gonna continue higher or lower. But as I said, I'll participate in lower prices this week and I won't be stubborn as the previous week. So this is my outlook for the NQ. I think it's pretty simple, nothing really hard, only fair value gaps and this powerful PDRA called relative rebalance and inversion fair value gap and liquidity. Basically those four PDRAs are the most used ones, PDRAs by me, because I see them as a good trading opportunities, good draw liquidities, and etc. So they just fit my personality, and if you trade order blocks or something, just stick to it and don't change PDRs because I use them. Okay, so there we have an NQ. This is my outlook once again. I'll go with this in mind into the upcoming week. So let me check the ES. ES is quite stronger because ES didn't even violate this daily BC yet, but I think it will pretty soon. On the weekly time frame, we can see price violated consequent encroachment of this weekly BC, which is pretty bad sign for us to go bullish. So as we can see, price clearly violated it, displaced through it, and slowly violating the daily PDRs. There we violated the breaker block on the daily time frame, and yeah, this is just a bad sign to go long. And I think we can predict the high of the week based on this daily violated BC, which become inversion fair value gap. And when I drop on the lower time frame, I'm pretty sure I'll find there some H1 or H4 CBs which will be overlapping with a discount, premium. So yeah, there it is. So when I anchor my dealing range, once again, there are two scenarios how I anchor my dealing range. Okay, so the first scenario is when price, stop rate, both sides, sell side and buy side liquidity, like in this example. This is a clear dealing range, obvious, nothing really hard to see. This is the ideal scenario of the dealing ranges. And about the second scenario of the dealing range, we will talk in the near future. Usually I do that with the M15. So when there will be an example, I'll keep you informed on my Discord. And yeah, so there, in my opinion, will be high of the week. On the H4 there was actually an order block, yeah, right there. And there is a mitigation block on the buy side of the curve. So I think price will, based on this, will move lower, and I'll just simply follow the order flow. So up close candles should support price lower. There is a pretty good market maker sell model on the H4, as you can see. This is the original consolidation, and currently we are around first stage of distribution. So this is the thing I expect for the ES to happen. Let me go to the last indice, which is YM, and there we got the nice SMT on the highs. YM is the strongest pair of those three indices, which we need to also keep that in mind. This will be like the toughest pair to short, because price currently didn't really violate any bullish PDA area, because when I anchor the dealing range, we can see the discount is there. So I'll be more interested in this BC, because it's the first BC in the discount. When we will violate it, it will be more powerful in my opinion than just some premium BC when I look for shorts. But never mind, let me refine it. There's the market maker sell model too, and the first draw on liquidity on the YM will be this daily BC, since it's the first daily BC in the discount, and it can be meaningful in some ways. So on the YM I would actually expect, let me again anchor my dealing range. So when I refine on the H1, let me anchor the dealing range. There isn't any CB at all, so let me refine. There is just this huge wick, so maybe I feel like the consequent encroachment of this wick will be overlapping with the premium, yeah. So this premium wick, I didn't even know that. This is the news high. Some FOMC member got some speech. So this is a pretty good draw on liquidity, and I think price can actually sweep this high, took out the news or the data highs, and then continue lower. So this is something I'll keep in mind. I completely forgot about some event from the FOMC member on Friday. This is the most probable scenario. Or price can even be so bearish that it will just support this M15 redelivered rebalance and just continues pulling lower. This scenario is actually less probable because it's pretty deep retracement. It's something around 500 points, so yeah. And the second drawn liquidity on the daily chart will be this small imbalance. I think that's it. I will talk more about this in my Discord server. Okay, so once again, if you are not there yet, I really suggest you to join the server, because I would say I have really warm community of traders which don't have any ego. They are just themselves, and we are just talking and engaging with the price. We simply just analyze together, call together, and share our journeys together, which is the main point I started doing this YouTube channel, and basically my whole, I would say, career on the YouTube and the X. This is it. I appreciate your time. Make sure you check my description for my social media. I will really appreciate if you can follow me. I would also really appreciate if you can subscribe, like, and turn on the bell to be notified about my upcoming videos, which will be on the similar basis, but I would love to record my journey intraday, like when I go to the school and etc. And once again, appreciate your time. I hope you found this weekly forecast insightful. If you have any thoughts of this, just let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer to you as soon as possible. I usually respond really quickly, so don't be worried that I won't answer you. Okay, so this is it, and until I talk to you next time, be safe.